Hey all, Siege here, and today I wanted to take a deeper look into the Erra quest before the Scarlet Spear launches and examine some, let's say, interesting curiosities that don't quite add up to me, or at least are making me think a lot, a few of which appear to have some significance too, so I wanted to run them by you and see what your thoughts are. Now, spoilers obviously for anyone who hasn't run this quest, and considering it's a single mission appearing in the quest log, if you have access and are otherwise caught up on your Warframe campaign stuff, I highly suggest you get in there and look this over before watching any more of the video. But if you don't care and just want to see, here it is in its entirety. Feel free to skip to the time below if you've already seen it and want to jump into the discussion.
Let her go.
If I had a heart, it would be broken. If my eyes could weep, I'd be blind. Look at what they've made of you. You're a god. You're a queen. But somehow the bees have you as a hostage. Do you even recognize me anymore?
I recognize the enemy.
No. Sister, it's me, Erra. The Makers caught you, unraveled your mind. They're using you to kill us. The Queen of the Aphids, with her eye in the void. But I don't blame you. I blame them. You believe these are your children, but I am the only family you've got left. So choose our family, our people, or these parasites. Choose, Natah. Choose!
I am not Natah. I am the Lotus.
Warframation is accelerating. Our conduits are nearly ready. Our rebirth is at hand.
And the Golden Spear? How many battalions?
Still having lapses. Listen to me. That's the past. The old war. Tell her, Maker.
Yes, there is no spear, Nata. Erra speaks. Master Erra. He speaks true. The Oracle are gone. The bios are divided. Infighting over what remains. Only the Tenno.
The Tenno. The enemy.
Yes.
Made by you. To kill us.
Yes.
But you have something our people have never had before, Natah. You're stained by their wickedness. Use it. Use their sin against them.
They're listening.
Let them.
They know we are building.
It won't matter.
No, it won't.
So what are you waiting for? Sing for us, sister. Call them home.
So, after watching that, what's the most glaring things that you picked up on? Feel free to write in the comments section below before I say a thing, if you'd like. I do think it would be interesting to see what you think uninfluenced, if you will. But you want to know what I thought? That's why you're here, right? Well, here's a few things for you. First, Erra seems strangely fine, doesn't he? You know, given that he received what appears to be the full brunt of 6 Tenno's power. I mean, I don't know. I suppose you could say he survived it, but his scream at the end is oddly reminiscent of someone who has not only been killed, almost sounds as if he was completely annihilated. Not to mention, sentients don't do well normally with just one Tenno, so I can imagine 6 in unison. That'd be a pretty tall order for them. Now, I realize that last part is subjective, so I suppose you have to decide for yourself on that one. Moving on, it would appear the interior of the moon is full of these Orcan lotus blossoms, which I think further drives the point home that they really did figure out a way to somehow change the thoughts and memories of Natah, so much so that she couldn't even recognize Erra.
I recognize the enemy.
She shows no remorse. Heck, she acts as though she doesn't even recognize him, like he's just some common enemy. If she ever did have a relationship with him, it surely doesn't show from this. Which brings me to my next major observation, the fact that both the Tenno and the Lotus seem to be under some kind of control, don't they? And I can't say I remember any situations where the Tenno are able to be controlled like that, save one.
You mad at me, kiddo? Did you forget? You owe me.
When the man in the wall decides to puppet them. In fact, this is really the only time the Tenno are not in control of their own facilities, as far as we've seen. Now check this part out. Obviously the Tenno are not themselves at this point. I think we can all agree on that. I think their eyes and synchronized movements suggest it, but the way the Lotus speaks seems almost zombie-like, and what's that red hue coming from her helmet? I wonder if we could pull the helmet up, what would her eyes look like? Maybe somewhat like the Tenno's? You know, I've been thinking a lot about the information in my last 2 videos, as well as the fact that the man definitely seems to be leading us somewhere. Consider this. During the Chimera prologue and this Erra quest, who leads the Tenno down the path each time? I think it's fair to assume, now that we have some real data to review, that there absolutely is an agenda he's following. Taking us to the Lotus to show her leaving us, transporting us to the sentient ship to speak with Ballas on how to kill her and other sentients, I would imagine. I doubt the paracesis works just on the Lotus. And finally setting us right next to Nata and Erra during their planning of the pending invasion, making sure we hear the Lotus call us the enemy, with each one of these encounters starting right here at the Lotus's helmet. Let's not forget, during the Chimera quest, when shadows appear to attack us, they are all the Lotus. So there's an obvious desire to get the Tenno to view her as an enemy, and he's making sure we see that. I think, given what we see here, a case might even be made for how the Orkin were able to take over the mind of a sentient, obviously through the helmet, but given the hue here when she is rescuing the Tenno during the second dream, contrasted against the red hue during the quote-unquote organized attack of Erra, does the man on the wall have some greater significance with the helmet itself? I think Nata's transformation into the Lotus is obviously linked to said helmet, based on what we see during Apostasy, but I also believe it would be impossible to dismiss out of hand the idea that the man in the wall was the one controlling her mind. He's the only one that can control ours. This cinematic is just jam-packed full of interesting things to get you thinking, no doubt. But one thought in particular keeps coming to my mind. I now feel completely confident in saying, regardless who you believe the man in the wall to be, who still lives within the Orkin hierarchy, what that hierarchy looks like, or even who's really in control, the man in the wall is working exclusively for, or most likely with, the Orkin. Are the Seven still alive? Is the man an amalgamation of the Seven, or maybe a surviving member fully transformed into the Void? These are questions I don't think we have enough information on yet, but they could be just around the corner, which is exactly what this old boy needs. I'm dying to see the payoff on this whole thing, as I think it could honestly be epic. Maybe even on par with like that of the Second Dream or War Within or whatever quest you think is the best one. Time will tell, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. How about you? Are you excited? Did you notice anything during the cinematic that I missed? I can't wait to read your comments on this. I really need to see what you saw that I didn't. At any rate, hope you enjoyed the video today. Hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. I'll talk at you on the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.